Hey, Stephanie, remember how we were about to die, maybe?
Every morning I wake up and I think the same thing.
Wow. In that moment, I hear a whisper of movement down the hall. I limp out a bit more, clearly the person in charge of being in the lead for that reason, watching as two tall ears slowly materialize out of the darkness. For a moment, I see a young male fox in overalls in front of me. Excuse me? Oh. But that imagery dissolves as Jenna is slowly lit up by the light coming from the weight room. She's covered in the dust from the crawl space. I'm startled, but I'm not scared because I know she can't see me. At least, she shouldn't be able to see me, but her piercing eyes are right on me.
I mean,
I would think the fox could see you in the dark.
Yeah, I think foxes... I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're not... I feel like they're nocturnal.
I feel like foxes would have better night vision than otters?
I don't know. Otters are more well-equipped than we realize.
Are they?
Like I said, they're brutal. They're like one of the most brutal...
I don't know that much about otters. I know they hold hands when they sleep. Is that helpful discussion?
They don't drift away. It is actually very cute. And also, that's a sea otter. I don't know what the fuck kind of otter we even are.
I assume we're a river otter. Because
of the other animals that are in this area all makes sense.
Yeah, I think they tried to make logic about what animals would live in this part of the country.
We haven't seen like an elephant walk up yet, so it's like...
No, and they even specifically said that dogs are not normally from around here, which implies that because the was it like Raven's like family isn't local or something like that. Like he moved here.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, well, he's a husky, but you're right. They just say dogs in general.
Yeah,
they're not usually from here. But dogs, you think would just be everywhere? Yeah,
well, they are for us, but I think.
But where would dogs be if not for us?
I think if they weren't distributed by humans everywhere, dogs might still be in Europe or something. I don't know. There might not be. I don't know if there were wolves in North America.
But then why would there even be dogs if there weren't?
There's probably wolves in North America.
There are wolves in North America.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the in-game lore for the dogs. Also, yeah, I have no idea what the logic is behind how there are dogs without humans to make dogs, because dogs are very specifically domesticated. We also saw.
I mean, they could be like royalty for humans, where they just had like some sort of weird lineage, and they basically deformed wolves.
Oh no! Oh no! So the dogs are English, and they had centuries of inbreeding in the royalty, and that's how we got dogs.
They have the Habsburg jaw.
They're from European monarchies.
Yes.
We also saw Calico Cat. He was the single frame. I almost said funeral barker. That'd be a hell of a title to have.
Come right up, but look at the
barker.
dead person.
Yeah. So we know that guy at least exists.
Well, but cats are. I mean, I feel like cats were spread everywhere by people, but very few cats have been like bred to look any particular way because of people.
But house cats didn't exist on their own.
Yeah, but
there are some smaller cats that exist on everywhere. Yeah, there's some smaller cats that exist on some like islands.
It's in Madagascar
where they don't have any predators, but they don't look like house cats at all. They're very different. Anyway,
I have a lot of
back to us not knowing anything about foxes.
I know there's not an actual established answer from the furry community, but I'd like you all to congregate and come up with answers to these questions for me, please.
About the echo lore, or about
yes,
how fox eyesight works?
How all the cats that are, or all the furries that are cats and all the furries that are dogs. How did this happen?
I need the furries and the D&D teams to get together and tell me what the range of a desert fox's night vision is. Go. She can see me. Maybe it's the fact that it's not Jenna at all. Maybe it's because she's completely possessed, and it's John looking through her eyes. Honestly, I thought we were walking out of the doorway of a fully lit weight room, so I didn't expect...
I'm a little bit confused about this, too.
I don't know the darkness status. Whatever it is, she can see me, that's clear, because she immediately raises the knife and bares her teeth at me. Oh. I don't want the others getting caught by her, especially with Raven tied up like that. I need to get Carl, I need to give Carl or I a chance to attack from behind, depending on if she goes for me or takes a turn into the weight room. She's coming! I back out into the hall and away from Jenna, hoping to give one of us the advantage. But she's coming so fast.
Otter, You're in on it with James, huh?
Her voice, rough and deep, unlike anything I'd heard from Jenna before. I realized then that there's no waking Jenna up from this. It's not Jen anymore, and John sure as hell isn't waking up. John lunges and I turn and run. Can't really do that very well at this point, right?
Mm-mm.
The fox doesn't even glance into the weight room as she comes for me. I limp and leap through the darkness, left hand stretched out, desperately feeling for the end of the wall that will signify the stairs. I hear the fox breathing behind me, bumping into the walls. Finally, my hand falls through nothing, and I turn sharply up the stairs. As I stumble upwards, I start to wonder what the hell I'm going to do. Well, I can try and go to the bathroom, lock the door. That doesn't exactly help out Carl. I can't stop thinking about the newspaper clipping that John's hanging corpse ate. If I can get all the pieces that it wants us to get, then maybe I can end whatever this is. My thoughts are interrupted as something cold goes down my back, followed by an even colder pain, just to the right of my spine.
Oh no.
I gasp as if I'd fallen into water, but continue upwards. I can hear Carl shouting, too, at the base of the stairs. There's too much distance between me and him for the ram to be of any help. As I reach the top of the stairs, there's a loud thwack sound to the left of my head, just as I stumble into the kitchen. A quick glance over my shoulder and I see John yanking the knife from the wall. Yeah, running away from everybody else is probably the worst possible call.
Yeah, you're really not equipped to handle this.
As much as you're like, I don't want them to be in danger, it's like, now you're just alone, and you can't run, really, because of your leg.
You're not gonna be much use to them even if you guys are together.
Yeah. Like, at least if she stabs you in the weight room, Carl could headbutt her. That's something better than what's happening right now. Almost sobbing now, I jump limp my way to the front door, hearing John scream curses at me from behind. While I want Carl's help right now, I also don't want him to catch up. I don't want John turning on him. This is exactly the opposite of the plan you had 1 second ago about somebody having the chance to attack. I struggle with the door for a moment, for some reason to try to push it rather than pull. For some reason trying to push it rather than pull. It's only a few seconds, but enough for John to gain on me and swing with the knife again as I pull open the door. I scream and duck, hearing the metal clang against the door hinge. I lunge forward, out of the door and into the cool of the early morning. The sky is a soft blue as dawn breaks. I limp as fast as I can down the steps, down the driveway, toward the slope, past the road, but John catches me again as I'm on the road. This time he grabs my shirt, holding on to me.
Give me a kiss.
I turn to face him as he draws the knife back for another swing, but at that moment we go over the slope. Even in my adrenaline-fueled state, the fall is painful, and each time I roll I can feel the stab of the rock sticking to my skin. The final bounce is punctuated with a blinding pain in my forehead as it collides with a small boulder. I shakily get to my feet, looking left and right for the tree, panicking until I realize it's right in front of me. I stumble right into it, clinging to it. I scan the dirt, but there's nothing, no paper at all. Jenna's getting up, just 5 feet away. I can see blood oozing through several scratches on his body. The knife is still in his hand, and he zeroes in on me again. I cower and move behind the tree, my plan ruined. And that's when my face becomes level with the hollow in the tree. Automatically, I reach in, feeling around, feeling mostly spider webs and twigs before Carl appears at the top of the slope.
Hey, stop!
Right, the body was never there, so there has to be a real-life explanation for where the paper went.
Yeah.
If they're supposed to find it.
Yeah.
So it's in the tree.
We just imagined all that weird.
I was like, what are you gonna do? Just tear down the body and, like, tear it open while she's trying to kill you? And I'm like, oh, right. Body's not real.
I was wondering that when that reveal came up. I was like, what corpse ate the note? What does that mean?
What does that mean in real life? John whirls around, knife raised as he immediately moves in the other direction.
You!
My hand finds the corner of a piece of paper, and I pull out the newspaper clipping. I scan over it. It's another quote from Carl's mother. I begin to read, my voice cracking as I manage to shout. but I was able to open a lockbox kept by James himself. It was full of jail letters between him and John. John freezes in his steps, knife still raised, looking up at Carl. I don't want to sully the Hendricks name, but if what John said is true, James framed him of the most heinous crime in Echo's history. In the meantime, Carl stumbles down the slope, moving carefully around the fox to stand next to me. I reach into my pocket and pull out the other pieces of paper. I hold them up. John, we know the truth. I'm going to tell everyone in my documentary, okay? I'm a journalist, a reporter. We see the truth. John turns towards me, knife slowly lowering. And just like that, it's not John anymore. It's Jenna. The knife clatters to the rocks. Carl reaches out to hold me, and I collapse against him, everything numb. Jenna's hands go to her mouth, staring at the knife, staring at me and Carl before she screams. In the distance, I hear sirens. Well, I was bracing to have to go back to some previous choice. I didn't think that was going to work out. Is history subjective in nature? Yes. The story of James and John sure seems to be. All we have are a few written letters, and from these, we must try to draw some sort of conclusion. In the end, it can't really be said what exactly happened almost 150 years ago, unless we make like a prequel about it or something. Instead, we can only provide the facts. Several native children went missing. James was accused of the crime before claiming that his secret lover, John, was the culprit. In his jail letters, Jonathan claims that he was framed by James. Because of the vigilante justice dealt out by the town, John never had a trial, and no record of the evidence collected exists. James, because of his influence, was allowed to leave and live hundreds of miles away from the West Coast, where he eventually died. He never wrote of the incident again. Many people believe that, as journalists, we're supposed to be unbiased and only state facts. That's not exactly true, as long as it's clear that we're stating an opinion. So I'd like to do that now. In my opinion, it's my opinion that John is innocent. We should be presumed innocent until proven guilty, after all, and Jonathan has never even had that chance. According to accounts written by other townspeople, James was a deceitful and emotionally manipulative man. There are many accounts of his prejudices against the native people. In the end, the records that exist of John give us no reason to disbelieve him, while James has given us every reason to doubt him. But because time is evidence's worst enemy, it has been 150 years, the definitive answer will likely never be known. Like much of Echo, the story is lost to time. I'm Chase Hunter at Pueblo University, and this has been a special report on the town of Echo.
We're back at college.
Wow. That's one way to transition, I guess. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Yeah, like we didn't, what about Leo?
What happens?
What about her foot? What
happens just in general to everybody?
What about Jenna?
I look over the report again, eyes stinging from staring at a monitor for too long. I'm a terrible writer, and the words of the script seem so clumsy. I shrug and decide I'll have time tomorrow to polish it up a bit. It's weird, writing the last word to a script I started almost 1.5 years ago. It's changed a lot since then, moving from a focus on hysteria to an old mansion mystery. My mind wanders back to that spring break in Echo. I still shake my head when I think about it, how it completely shattered my view on reality, my view on life. Of course, I couldn't come back to school right afterwards. I hadn't finished my project after all. Actually, I needed therapy. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Why?
We all did. Except Carl. He seemed to have come out of it better than He had been going into it, somehow.
Everyone handles trauma differently.
Jenna would say. In fact, she had a lot of things to say about what happened. Like, oh shit, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh shit.
Oh no, oh gosh, everything I felt, my grip on reality is loosened.
Well, she didn't come out quite as unscathed as Carl. She's still tougher than me, and actually went right back to school that summer. Now she's at Weston, and a lot of her research is focused on
Folie à deux.
folie à deux,
Folie à deux.
our shared psychosis. I wonder what would inspire such a thing.
That actually is a very interesting subject. There's like a
Especially if it happened to you.
Oh yeah, 100%. But there's like a bunch of historical, in history that has happened lots of times, and looking back on it, it's immensely interesting.
Yeah. The dancing disease or whatever.
Yeah, things like that.
Because of how everything went down, the things we felt and what we saw, Jenna's convinced that that's what took place. She brought up the way we primed each other to hear and see things. The way the things we saw didn't seem to have any rhyme or reason for what they were. While I do believe a lot of what we saw came from ourselves, I'm not fully convinced that explains all of it. Mainly because the rest of the townspeople went through their own nightmare that night. I still can't believe the things that Leo and TJ went through. But we're not gonna expand on that right now.
Yeah, no.
That'll be another 20 hours. Still, I'm glad we can find a way to explain it. She can find a way to explain it to herself.
Yeah, whatever helps you sleep at night, sweetheart.
She told me over the phone just last week that she hasn't forgiven herself, that she should have been stronger than that. I've told her over and over again that it's not her fault, but I guess after coming to with a knife in her hand and her friend stabbed, it left an impression. I rest my hand on the thick scar through my shirt that runs all the way down my back and wiggle the ankle that causes me a permanent limp.
Well, that answers that question I was wondering about.
So yeah, he did not he did not come back well from that trip at all. Jesus Christ. He has a scar all the way down his back and a permanent limp. Alright. Still, this whole incident, it actually brought us closer.
Hey, remember that time I almost tried to kill you?
Yeah, remember that?
Remember that?
Remember how we're only friends because of trauma?
Yeah.
What if there was more
that's
trauma?
That's like how it was before. Yeah, I was gonna say,
like
it's the same.
Like a sticky glue to hold us together.
You know, every time I
glue.
feel us drifting apart, I'm just gonna start another incident.
Yeah.
Have more trauma.
Jenna, things haven't been the same lately. What if you stab me again? Maybe one of our friends could die. Just
trips TJ when he's going down the stairs. Fresh. Maybe Flynn next
TJ
time.
has had it good for too long. No.
You can just be those types of people that those like teenagers that collectively all decide to kill one of their friends for like no good reason. That's happened like a ton of times where it's like, I just feel like killing someone. Let's kill that one. Like,
I know what you did last summer, and the next summer, and the next summer, and the next summer.
We have no friends left.
Yeah. Still, this whole incident actually brought us closer. At least for Jenna, Carl, and I.
Yeah, forget the others.
Nobody else was there. They were very much not involved. They had their own trauma friendship now. There's a schism. Hell, even Raven.
Oh, he got a shout out.
We didn't. I was wondering if are we just forgetting Raven from here on out, who was more involved in that weekend that spring break than any of the other named characters.
I was not expecting him to be such a main character.
After the fucking,
I thought he was gonna die.
After the blowjob joke.
Yeah, I thought he was an asshole, and then I grew to love him.
Well, he's actually an idiot.
Yeah, that's much better. It's much better.
It's still painful to think about Flynn, Leo, and TJ. Poor TJ. Aren't really talking anymore.
They all just fell off the friendship cliff.
I guess it's the fact that we went through completely different things during the incident. Silent Hill. Of course, we told the police that it was someone else that had stabbed me when the town descended into madness. Yeah, just frame Duke. He's already dead.
That guy.
Yeah.
You point to the dead one.
Just the body. It was him. Okay. He did it. And then he just hope he doesn't come back as a ghost because he's mad that you framed him. That'd be a really bad version. That would be a really ineffective way of learning the lesson of whatever just happened. We'll just blame this guy. He's dead. He did all the bad things.
As he like end of Saw stands up and like is like actually.
150 years later, he just haunts a new set of teenagers because of that.
It's another Freddy Krueger or another Jason. It's
another John. Be gay.
Yeah,
it's just the repeat of the exact thing.
Revenge on your ancestors.
Echo, a name now famous worldwide after the mass hysteria incident that truly brought a dying town to its ultimate end. At least, in terms of being a failed town. While no one really lives there now, it's certainly become a tourist attraction. Countless news reports, TV shows, and paranormal investigators descend on the area.
It's like
there's a whole season of American Horror Story just about it.
About it?
About Echo.
Oh.
I'm making an in-universe joke.
I was
But I said it weird, so that became
it sounded like you're emphasizing the words. I got confused. I was thinking of driving all the way to Chowchilla just to see the Chowchilla bus from the Chowchilla bus kidnapping.
And now don't you feel like an asshole?
No, I don't feel like an asshole because I feel like in the same way that's a tourist attraction, going to Echo would be a tourist attraction for the exact same reason, because no one knows Chowchilla except for the Chowchilla bus kidnapping, which was the largest kidnapping in American history.
Man.
And it's very similar to Echo. Chowchilla is the town that Echo reminded me of when I first saw it.
I guess if they were in a bus, it was like a package deal.
Oh yeah,
it's very efficient.
It's all the kids and one adult, and the adult took the credit for helping them all escape, but it turns out afterwards that there was like one kid who orchestrated almost everything.
Oh. Alarming. Especially once the news story changed from spree killing leaves 9 dead to whole town went nuts. So we have a death count now. So Duke plus 8. Luckily, not a lot of focus fell on us since we weren't exactly living in Echo anymore. No one died in our storyline, right?
No.
We only know Duke died because of the bad ending. So that's our only data point, I think. Granted, I don't know, since Chase does different things every route because we go with a different person, I don't know if the death count stays the same either.
Yeah, because your decisions could affect other people.
Yeah. We can kill way more people, pump those numbers up, they're rookie numbers.
Yeah, get good.
Luckily, not a lot of focus fell on us since we weren't exactly living in Echo anymore. We just got into the ambulances and left. Carl, on the other hand, along with the rest of his family, are still harassed by the media. Carl's mom, Trisha, is a pro at handling the media, though.
She sounds like a smart lady.
I still wonder what exactly it was that stopped her from publishing all her findings. I'll have to ask her sometime, considering I'm practically family due to how much I visit with Carl. And also, like, her writing is, like, the only reason we're alive as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and she saved our asses.
In the end, the relationship that I had with Carl in the dreamscape didn't exactly survive in the real world.
Oh, no!
No! Carl told me that he didn't know where he ended and James began, even when he rejected James's influence. We couldn't really trust anything that happened there. But still, he's my best friend, and I plan to spend the summer over at his house when I start my next project on Echo. Then we're gonna yeah, I realize that there are a lot of our stories to cover over there, and I plan to uncover them. It's almost healing going back now without any fear. My own little therapy. Until the sequel. Guess I always end up back there eventually.
As we do this again.
You're just going in circles.
Mm-hmm.
The sound of clops to my right makes me look up, just as a bulky ram fills the frame of the doorway. Carl leans against it, rolling his eyes.
Dude, you told me you were going to work on that tomorrow.
I smile and rest my chin on my palm. Was just giving it a quick once-over before we film.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, I'm going for some pizza. You coming?
Pizza dis ass.
Yeah, you coming?
God damn it. I'm not really hungry, but taking my mind off Echo for just a little bit sounds good, even though I talk about it going back to it as therapeutic.
Yeah, that is contradictory, isn't it?
Carl always cheered me up anyway. I nod over at the corner of our dorm room where Carl's papier-mâché sculpture of a tortured-looking bird sits. What?
Wait, he's back at school.
Don't you have to finish that thing by tomorrow? Carl shrugs.
I got like 3 energy drinks in the fridge. I'll be good. Come on, let's get going. I want to meet Caitlin there too.
Papier-mâché in college.
Does he have a girlfriend?
Maybe. Or just a friend.
I mean, it's possible. I shouldn't be so presumptuous.
But also, let's get extremely jealous.
But I was gonna say I'm getting jealous. That's why I noticed it.
Excuse me? I don't see a ring.
Does she have a huge dick? Like a girlfriend you always wanted?
Just like you always dreamed. I get up slowly, stretching out my back. Oh, I see. So I'm just your wingman. Carl smirks.
It's not like that, dude. I just like hanging out with her. Now let's go.
Carl hangs on the frame, starting to swing himself out into the hall. Hey, Carl? Carl rebounds back into the room, leaning in towards me.
Yo?
Thanks. For being my friend.
Oof, just friend. Ugh.
Oh.
My heart.
But what about the beanbag?
Remember the beanbag?
Oh, you remember the beanbag?
We have a nice little painted illustration of it, in case you forgot.
Why was James so into the beanbag? I don't think that was James, man.
Sure, yeah, I know. I feel like he's using this as an excuse to not want to be with us. It's like I don't know where James ends and I begin. And it's like,
yeah,
dude, I don't know where my hunger ends and I begin. And I don't know where my, like, you know, I'm tired today, or like I'm like, oh, I have, like, it's like, oh, I'm anxious, or like, you know, I'm like hormonal or something. It's like there's a lot of aspects to like your life that just kind of, if you really sit and think about it, like how much of anything you do is actually really 100% you anyway.
It feels a little bit
it's all
like
these factors that play into like your interactions with every person. I feel like that is, I think he's copping out.
Yeah, no, it feels like the feeling of like, it's easier to be straight than bi.
Yeah.
So let's not think about that anymore.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
I think have I said this in this or not? There was a period of, I remember there was a period where I had a fur affinity account where I was like, it's the furries, they're making me gay. And so I made a new account where I was only going to interact with straight art from that point forward. It didn't last.
Yeah, I was going to say, how'd that work out for you?
It didn't work, actually.
Those furries making me gay. Oh no.
But it's not, I mean, it's not preferred for several reasons to be gay. So if you're like, something's making me gay, I'm going to get out of this. As a teenager, you're like, I can fix this. It doesn't work.
When I was a child, I heard one of the best, like when I was a child, back when people actually thought that being gay was a choice, when that was like actually something people debated about.
People still think that.
I know, but now it's like those people are obviously stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, but there was a very larger portion of these idiots, and somebody like someone I know, like a lesbian I know, she said specifically, she was like, why would a person choose the path that is immensely more difficult if they had the ability to choose?
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes perfect sense, because it would just be easier to be a straight person. So why would a person go through the effort of choosing the harder path if it doesn't necessarily benefit them any more than anything else?
The incredibly asinine counter-argument is that it's for attention. That it's trending.
I was gonna say,
like, that is what the conservative podcast circuit says as an answer to that question, both for gay people and now much more heavily for trans people, is that they're like, they always say that it's trendy to not have to be the right gender, and that they're doing it for attention. And it's like, nobody prefer, like, it's preferable to express that you're trans if you are trans, because it's a serious mental health thing to be able to like actually like just be yourself. But it'd be much preferable to just not be trans in the first place, as far as like quality of life goes,
and then how people treat you, and how hard things would be.
Like,
for you
just are gay or are trans, and that's just how it is. And so it's just a matter of like, are you gonna choose the shitty path of being unhappy all the time, and because you're hiding forever and not ever acting like it or treating or dealing with it, Or do you deal with the other shitty path of how people react to that when you do admit to it? And it's like, it's not a fun dilemma for anybody.
Well, most people I know who like are gay or trans, or like they it's one of those things where it's like they're a person and they have all these interests and they have all these things, and it's not as if like being gay or trans is the forefront of their entire identity. It is like a fact about them. It is not as if like they lead with that. It's like if you're trying to get attention, it's like that would be like your whole personality. But it's just like, no, like they like all these things, and then like oh, he also likes to fuck dudes. Like that's just one of his many interests. It's not as if like he was wearing a shirt that's like I'm gay on it and he's like trying to get a bunch of attention. It's like these people, like who are these people who are trying to get attention for this? It's not the majority of people I know. But
there's a I guess a sampling bias or something that happens here, which is that you are only aware of people being trans or gay when they call attention to it or when they're expressing it. And so that leads to the whole statement of like, oh, you make it your whole personality. It's like, no, you just don't give a shit about me when I'm not outside of my expression of this thing, and that's what you fixate on. And also you have an empathy problem where you treat people like NPCs and like they don't have complex lives beyond the one thing you see them as.
One of my I knew somebody who was homophobic in high school, and I was like, oh, do you like this person? Like, yeah. I was like, do you like this person? Like, yeah. Like, do you like this person? Like, yeah. No, I'm friends with all those people. And I'm like, oh yeah, well that last one, like he's a gay guy, but you didn't know that, right? Because like it's not as something like it just doesn't come up for you, because like why would it come up for you? Like you're not dating each other. But it's like you liked everything else about his personality. You didn't even, like, you were friends with him. You didn't even know he was gay. It doesn't matter. It's like one of those things. It's like it's super irrelevant to every other thing. And he was like, really? That he's gay? And I was like, yeah. See, look how it didn't affect your relationship until now that you're thinking about it. And then he realized how stupid it was. Then I
guess that's the happy ending. It could have been way worse.
No, I know.
If he's that much of an idiot.
No, but I still know him. He's not homophobic anymore. I helped change the world.
And then he wasn't racist anymore. Stanley,
I wish it was that easy with everybody.
Racist dragon. I don't know if his name was Stanley or not. Anyway.
So, yeah, sorry, that was a long tangent, guys.
Yes. I don't know if it was all the reminiscing about what happened the spring before last, or if I'm still not over what happened, but Carl seems to understand. He smiles and reaches out a big hand towards me, which I grasp.
Of course, man. If you need to talk or something, I'm here. Do you want to talk right now?
I shake my head quickly. Nah, I'm good. Just wanted to say it. Carl smiles.
Well, thanks for saying it. Now let's go.
Carl again swings on the frame out into the hall. There's some loud clopping before I hear him shouting at someone and giving them what sounds like a high five.
Oh, he's so much more social now.
Oh my god, he blossomed. I smile to myself as I look at the document on the screen one last time, before closing the laptop and following Carl out into the hallway. The end. What exactly caused Carl to, like, have his epiphany? I figured that's where the story was going, but I didn't entirely get. That's a lot of the same two names repeating. I guess editing and scripting and writing are mostly the same thing.
3 names. They're adding names here.
They're slowly growing. Sprite edits. One of the writers edits the sprites. That's some cross training.
I just think maybe.
What?
Oh wait.
Why does Haps have ad Astra art in this game?
Wait, it has the smoke room illustrations, and like they're adding other games in these credits.
I really like this illustration.
I don't like that one.
It's a very pissed Leo. I feel so bad for TJ, but I'm the weirdo that likes him so far.
I don't. I'm a mean person. I would bully him too.
Everyone's a mess in this group, and TJ's got his own shit.
Annie Mae.
But he was, in some ways, he was the precursor for the Raven we got in certain ways. His behavior.
I mean, I just don't.
There's a lot of Kevin MacLeod here.
I just don't like. I don't like him.
I like this illustration.
Him telling us not to curse in the first scene. I never forgave him for it.
I never forgave him. Only God forgives.
And he's not real in my book, so no one's forgiven you, motherfucker.
Deadly Beauty. A lot of audio blocks. I'm guessing audio. Oh yeah, another royalty-free license. Kevin MacLeod's really commonly used by YouTubers in a few indie games. There's more Kevin MacLeod. Aww.
We'll never have that again.
These are so sweet. Is that underwear on the floor or a shoe?
I want to say underwear because I like that answer better.
I would prefer it to be underwear.
But what about this, Carl? This was before. Well, I mean, I guess I feel like it was before you were possessed.
He was already doing sleepwalking and stuff, so it's hard to say completely. But yeah.
But from what we understand, James, I'm getting their names mixed up. James was a horrible person, and I don't think at any point Carl acted like a horrible person.
This is a really long soundtrack.
But I do wonder if we had convinced Carl to embrace the James. I wonder if we. I mean, I think maybe he would have been more evil, or maybe we would have ended up together, because maybe he would just be James and he'd want to fuck us.
We're back. Well, short episode.
Yeah.
We did an ending, y'all.
Well, there's one of many, so.
Yep. Next up.
Forward to the other ones.
Next up is Leo. Get to find out what the fuck his mess is.
Dude, that's.
We have hints.
That's an exciting one because there's so much background with us.
He's been set up a lot because of the Route 65 having some fucked up implications about him, and we saw the beginning of the relationship, and then there's just hints at what might have happened since then, and you're like, all right.
And he's obviously obsessed with us because he wears his bracelet, and he's like, he's got some weird issues, so I'm a little bit like afraid of him. Like, it's one of those things where it's like he's putting up red flags in my book, like, you know. It's like one of those guys gets your name tattooed on him, and he comes back to see you years later with your name tattooed on him somewhere. It's like one of those.
And the
things.
bracelet's even set up by the logo of the game, so you're like, all right, let's see what this fucking mess is.
And we had that whole bad like dream nightmare thingy about the anchor dragging us down.
Yep.
There's definitely some weird tie-ins with him. I think I'm a little bit afraid of Leo, as much as I also like him. So
we'll see how it goes.
To it.